Hey guys, LevelCap here. Today is Monday, which means it's time for an episode of Loadout, the series where you guys, the viewers, get to pick a weapon and customization for me to use. The way you do this is you leave a comment down below letting me know what kind of gun and accessories you'd like me to run with, and I will pick one of the top rated comments for the next episode. Today's top comment comes from Samuel McGreal. We have a Black Ops 2 loadout. Primary is the AN-94 using the Coyote red dot sight heavy barrel underslung rail. Paint will be the flat desert. Secondary is the 5.7 with a laser and a suppressor. Gadget 1 is any grenade launcher. Gadget 2 is the med bag, grenade standard frag, any field upgrade. And he says, when I heard the AN-94 came to Battlefield 4, I had all the tools to create a themed loadout. It was a beast of a gun in Black Ops 2, and does it live up to this now? Alright, so first things first, I've recreated the loadout in the description, except for the Coyote sight. I got over 200 kills with the gun, and just didn't get the Coyote sight unlocked, and frankly I feel like I was going to need to get about 400 kills with my luck before I got the Coyote sight in a battle pack, so I substituted the Cobra sight, but everything else is there, so the performance of the gun should be identical to the loadout description. We've got that desert camo on there, which blends in with some maps, but kind of looks funky on most other maps, unfortunately. And I gotta say, I really enjoy playing with the AN-94. It's one of the few assault rifles that actually manages to be really good at range, but not very good in close quarters. In fact, I don't know any other assault rifles that can really claim that very well, but this gun absolutely decimates at long range. It can kill people before they realize they're even getting shot, hundreds of meters away even, but in close quarters, especially in burst fire mode, it can certainly be lacking and a bit tricky to use. You do always have that headshot burst option, but it's not as easy to do as many might think, and just having a full auto assault rifle in CQB is a much more reliable alternative. Now, one thing that I do find a little bit annoying about this gun is that by default it starts in its full auto rate of fire. You have to change the fire mode on this weapon to use the burst fire mode, which is by far its most effective mode. Otherwise, you're just getting a 600 round per minute full auto assault rifle, which really isn't going to do anything for anyone. Now, I play a bunch of different game modes in this video to see where the weapon seems to function the best. Definitely Conquest, Large, and Rush style game modes where you can control your engagement range and make it much further away. This gun was way more effective in those scenarios. Team Deathmatch, where people are kind of all over the place flanking you, forces you into a lot more close quarter situations, and this gun just isn't quite as effective in those scenarios. Again, capable if you've got amazing aim and great twitch reflexes, but beyond that I feel like the average player is really just going to have a lot more success at medium and long range engagements. Now, just in case you're not familiar with the burst fire mode on the AN-94, it shoots 2 rounds back to back at 1200 rounds per minute. You can't shoot the whole mag at this rate of fire, but just those 2 rounds shoot extremely quickly together. The idea is that both those rounds will hit your target if you're on target, and they'll basically receive double damage for one shot. Now, because you have a slightly boosted headshot multiplier now with most assault rifles, that means you can burst fire kill your opponent with 1 burst in close quarters, which is very cool. At further ranges, you have incredible accuracy, and you can kill your opponents with 2 bursts or 3 bursts very, very quickly. Now, the most difficult thing with this weapon is shooting moving targets. Soldiers that are sprinting all out, it can be kind of hard to judge how far you need to lead in front of them, plus you're burst firing, so it's trickier to aim rather than just dragging your mouse across the mouse pad with a full auto weapon. You're kind of tap firing and dragging at the same time. It's much more difficult than the simple drag. Your muzzle velocity on this weapon is 620 meters per second, which is pretty darn good, but it does mean that you'll still need to lead on targets that are super far away. Now, when it comes to equipping attachments on this gun, I don't know if I necessarily agree with the heavy barrel. This weapon was performing fine stock, even without an angled foregrip or without a heavy barrel. I was having no problem dropping people at further ranges. The heavy barrel, in my opinion, might add more recoil than it's actually worth, so we'll just have to kind of play around with it a bit and see. I was able to do fine both with and without the heavy barrel, but I honestly felt like I was in control of the gun a little bit better when I was just using it stock. Now that the spread decrease penalty has become quite extreme on many guns, and a lot of the underbarrel attachments affect this as well, it is becoming less necessary to run grips on a lot of guns now. I see a lot of people using weapons stock. And it's kind of hard for me to get my head around the new attachment system because I'm so used to putting different attachments on different weapons that require certain kinds of handling, upgrades, and stuff like that. But now a lot of weapons are just like, hey, we actually shoot the best when shot stock. And so that's something that I'm like, wow, so not even putting attachments on most of the guns in the game is almost preferable at this point. So it's a little bit less interesting in the attachment world since the latest patch because of the massive spread penalty that a lot of guns have. And we'll just have to kind of wait and see if they're going to tweak the spread penalty a little bit more and see what happens, or if attachments are going to get changed a bit so that they're a little bit more effective and more people use them. I mean, realistically, a lot of weapons are run without grips in the front of them and without all these crazy attachments on them. So I guess in terms of creating a realistic battlefield where you're not necessarily seeing tons of guns kitted out with all this crazy attachments and gear is a more realistic look to the game, but I guess it's a little bit less fun, especially considering that people work pretty hard to unlock a lot of attachments. However, it is kind of cool to see an underslung grenade launcher for a change, since I hardly ever see that because I'm almost always running some sort of grip. Now overall, I have to say the AN-94 is a really fun gun to play with. It's going to be most effective though at those medium and long range engagements, so use it on larger conquest style maps. And make sure you switch it into burst mode. It will keep your burst mode setting between rounds, but I believe every time you join a server, you have to reset it into burst mode. So that pretty much wraps it up for this episode of Loadout. Don't forget to leave your tactical themed comments down below. And as always guys, I'll see you next time. This is LevelCap signing off.